Hello everyone. In our final briefing, we're going to look at some highlights of Chapter 11 and 12, our readings for Module 9, the very last module of the course. These readings touch upon supply chain management and CRM. And if you look at supply chain and CRM, you should step back and see the big picture and understand that these are two components, or what is known as the company's value chain. If you're familiar with value chain analysis, a company earns its margin through primary activities and through support activities. Notice in red here we have inbound logistics, outbound logistics, marketing and sales. Really, supply chain functionality and the supply chain function within the company is all about inbound logistics, acquiring materials, components, labor, sometimes funding to get things done in your operations. It's the raw materials to your process, and a company takes those, transforms them, adds value to them, and sells them. But in order to make money on those inputs after they're transformed, you have to have a customer. You have to attract customers, retain customers, service customers. So acquiring the raw materials, the inputs, is the inbound, and that's typically been known as the supply chain. And the outbound is the customer, which is CRM, Customer Relationship Management, to provide support for managing that outbound portion of the chain. So typically we've heard of the term supply chain management dealing primarily with inbound logistics and inbound processes, whereas CRM was about managing customers. But the overall supply chain from inbound to outbound is part of the overall company's value chain. In Figure 11.1, it gives you first, and this is Chapter 11, a simple overview of what the supply chain does. You have customers on one side, suppliers on the other. So an operation that needs inputs to their manufacturing processes or whatever transformation processes they have, they are the customers. They place orders, and these orders may go to customer service centers, distribution centers, suppliers, and then materials come from suppliers back to the customers. And then there may be managed inventories between customers and suppliers. And there's an infinite spectrum of how customers and suppliers work together to manage those inventories and lead times. And ERP plays an important role in that. Now, traditionally, ERP started out with MRP, Manufacturing Requirements Planning, that had modules that focus specifically on the supply chain. But now ERP is more integrated, and it has applications that handle this part of the overall value chain. Here's flows in a typical supply chain: financial flows, information flows. So it's not just the components that flow back and forth, it's information. What is some example of information? How about forecast? How about disruptions? How about shortages, spikes in demand? It's the holiday season currently as I speak, and typically you'll find some things that are sold out during the holiday season. A failure to anticipate and react quickly enough to spikes in demands of certain products. I remember a few years ago, the Nintendo Wii went through a problem. It was not anticipated it would be as successful as it was, and it was sold out everywhere. But you can see the flows of information that go back and forth. The ERP system has modules that provide support for this. Now let's look at the outbound side. We've been discussing briefly the inbound side of the value chain. The outbound side is all about your customers. You have a business strategy, technology strategy, customer strategy. The idea is you want to attract customers, but once you've got them, you want to retain those customers and serve them over a long period of time, because the cost of acquiring a customer is very high. And that if you can retain customers and keep them happy, that's going to be a very high margin activity. You're going to have increased opportunities for interaction, increased loyalty. The CRM software helps you maintain information about customers and all the previous interactions and what offers that you've given them before. Keeps it all in one place, so if one person talks to a customer, someone else in your company needs to talk to them, that information is right there. Here's examples of components that are in a typical CRM system. You identify customers, you attract them, you engage them, you retain them, you track data like shopping patterns, preferences, service and support history, to help you overall better take care of that very important element of the overall value chain. So as we wrap up this course, we've seen previously the operation part of the value chain itself, and that's where ERP plays an important role. But extensions to the operation are the inbound side and the outbound side, and that's where we end up in Module 9 with our examination of supply chain management and customer relationship management. I've enjoyed working with you over these last 9 weeks, and I'll see you in the discussion threads for our final module together.